Good night to the political leader, the Honorable Mr. Austin Jack Warner, Deputy Political Leaders, Chairman Mrs. Rika Ramjit, all executive members, media personnel, and the residents of Diego Martin. To those of you listening on 91.9 and Warner TV. New politics. This was the mantra on which the People's Partnership came into in 2010. No more corruption, no more nepotism, no more wastage of country's patrimony. Crime would be a thing of the past. Justice for all. Instead, over the last 5 years, all they promised that would be done away with, has been visited 100-fold to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. The Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, promised change, a new culture in the parliamentary representation. None shall be left behind, but as I walk through the constituency of Diego Martin and throughout the country, one truth is extremely self-evident. With the expectation of the partnership's chosen sons, and we all know who they are, this country has been left behind. But tonight, I would like to speak to you all about a certain 14-letter word, representation. At this time, representation is a very important word with consequences for all of us here tonight. I hope all of you are listening, whether you are in the audience or tuning in from afar, and paying attention to this important matter. For the past 5 years, our representation at a national level has been the People's Partnership government. For the first time in our history, a female representative of a political party became our Prime Minister. Given such circumstances, you would think that the representation we received would be one of greatness and accomplishments. Sadly, this is not the case, as the People's Partnership government has perhaps given us the worst representation imaginable, from blatant corruption, nepotism, cronyism, and underhandedness at a professional level to actions ranging from questionable to immoral to downright illegal on personal levels. This People's Partnership has failed us at almost every possible turn, yet they are seeking re-election for another term in office as if the last 5 years never happened. Should we give the Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, and her squad another chance in office? No! Doing whatever they wish with the nation's purse? No! Are you getting, or have you gotten your fair share? Diego Martin continues to suffer from poor drainage at the best of times. And as an expanding and developing urban community, are we properly being represented by the PP through the constructions of better drains and waterway? No. Do you think the People's Partnership had given us representation when after more than 2 whole years and closing in on now a third, that flood victims are still awaiting the People's Partnership government promise compensation for their flood-related losses? No. Do you think that by giving us flyby visits in helicopter and stepping daintily around in brand new Gucci and Prada rubber boots for smiling photo opportunities among people who have lost in a flash things that took them literally decades to achieve? Is that somehow proper representation? I don't think so. Do you think that by watching on idly while people with selfish motives and very deep pockets are using connections to rob, hoodwink, and bamboozle the poor farmers of their land and livelihood, is that somehow good representation? No. The reason I have stuck on this theme of representation is simply this. The two major parties have constantly failed the residents of Diego Martin, giving them less than adequate representation. From the examples I gave you before, it is clear that things in Diego Martin and nowhere near what they should be. And we, the residents, are partially to blame for not holding our MPs and the government to higher standards and delivery and accountability. Our ILP leader, Mr. Jack Austin Warner, has been an attacked person in the media. The media like to use the terminology like in battle and corruption accused when describing him. Yet, there is one area in which they have to give him proper due, even if it is begrudgingly, his performance as MP for Chaguanas West and a former government minister. In resigning from and immediately regaining his seat in Parliament in a heartland UNC constituency, he has proven that despite all the naysaying, he regained his seat based on his track record of representation. No matter what was the national agenda, he delivered to his constituency and constituents at a level that when they could have opted for tribal choice, the majority of them chose to go back with Jack. If that is not a solid case of performance, beaten old talk, I don't know what is. And ladies and gentlemen, what I have just described is what good representation embodies: performance and action leading to voter satisfaction. What we of the ILP want to offer you is a chance at proper and respectable representation for your area and for the national community. Representation that brings real benefits to Diego Martin, not lip service, photo ops, or a trail of broken and unfulfilled promises. We want to expand on the delivery system of Mr. Warner and bring them to other areas of this great nation. When you look back on the work we actually did and on the work we plan to do, you should be able to say without a doubt that the ILP has given us representation.
That's right.
However, we cannot even start to achieve this dream without your support and trust in us. This is why I am asking you all to go to the polls on September the 7th, and when you see the ballot paper, ignore the rising sun, ignore the balize, ignore the polka dot circles and all the other weird looking symbols, and choose the one with the pumping jack and the sugar cane, the ILP.
That's right.
Finally, I want to appeal to those in these Diego Martin constituencies: Diego Martin West, Diego Martin Central, Diego Martin Northeast. Those who may know me in the community will know my values and will know my standards. And with this knowledge, you can feel comfortable when I tell you that I am a firm believer in the watchwords of the ILP: representation, action, and performance.
That's right.
Let us come together and claim the future you want. Thank you, and good night.